14 years ago, after a brief parish assignment in Palawan, my first actually, I was called to come back to Manila to the seminary. And while I was in the seminary, we had a family gathering in Tandang Sora. So malapit lang naman yung seminary sa Tandang Sora. Sabi ko sa ate ko, my sisters, brother, and parents will be there. Chicken na lang yung dadalhin ko. Yun na lang yung contribution ko sa ating family gathering. Okay. So, before going to Tandang Sora, I dropped by Jollibee. Father Arnold, pwede bang sabihin yung Jollibee? Yun na positive light naman. I dropped by Jollibee kasi yun ang gusto ng mga pamangkin ko. Bumili ako ng isang bucket ng Chicken Joy. Now, kulang yung isang bucket sa amin. And so, I went out of the store while my order was being prepared, and I went to another store that also sells chicken, pero ibang luto sa pagkakaluto doon sa Jollibee. I also bought isang buong manok. And then, bringing this chicken, I arrived home. Pagkakita ng ate ko sa akin, ang sabi niya, bakit ka bumili niyan? Sabi ko, abay, para may variety. Yung iba, Chicken Joy, yung iba, ito. Sabi niya, ayaw ng mga bata yan. Sabi ko, the Chicken Joy will be enough for the children. Yung iba, kung gusto nila, di ito. Yung iba, ibang ulam naman, so para may variety. When we started eating, that's where I discovered I am operating on a different mindset. Sa Palawan, kung gusto ko sa manok, prito, tinola, adobo, ako ang masusunod. Hindi dahil ako ang boss, dahil ako lang ang tao sa kumbento. Ako lang kakain ng manok. So I choose and cook my own food. There, I saw how my sister and brother-in-law would eat. Kakain sila, bibigyan muna ang kanilang mga anak who were at that time little kids. And because the children would like to eat many, hindi nila maubos yung malaking manok. After they eat, whatever is left over, the parents have to take and eat. So kapag kakain sila, nakabudget na, nakasama dun sa tira ng bata, yung kanilang kakainin. I was on a different plane. I get what I need. I get what I can consume. I consume what is mine. I live for myself. Well, as far as the chicken is concerned, sila nakalaan na nakakain kasama yung pagkain ng kanilang anak. Interconnected. They live not just for themselves, they eat with the other. Dear brothers and sisters, we go to the readings, and I first go to the first reading. And I would like to highlight one trait when Elisha came to visit a home. He was accorded hospitality. And in the Old Testament, this was an important action of a village. A stranger cannot just come in because he will be considered an outsider, an enemy. So when Elisha was coming, the action of the woman, the couple, who gave him a room upstairs and who welcomed him, was already the beginning of a relation of good ties, of a connection. Fast forward to the gospel. Parang ang hirap intindihin yung sabi ni Jesus, whoever loves mother or father or brother or sister more than me is not worthy of me. Let's go to the culture to be able to understand these words. Sa very strong family-knit culture ng mga Israelites, sometimes when they marry a second cousin, a third cousin within the family to keep the family property intact. to keep everyone on site, to keep family care alive and togetherness strong. Pero sa togetherness ng closely knit family na ito, meron ding danger na kami-kami, iba sila. We take care of ourselves and that is enough. We will never go out of our comfort zones. We are content here. God, faith, life is found here. But here comes Jesus, who is outside the family, who may be outside, coming from outside of the tribe, trying to establish the beginnings of God's kingdom on earth. He was not a family member. He was not a tribe member. And he was asking the disciples to join him, proclaim the good news to the world. At nakita niya mahirap yun kapag hindi mo ma-uproot papalabas sa comfort zone. Kapag hindi mag-go beyond yung tribal mentality. And so Jesus said, consider also loving me and those whom I will send you to. They will not be from your tribe. They may not be from your family. They may have leprosy. They may be enemies. They may not be Israelites. They may be Gentiles. Can you, like in the first reading, be hospitable to them? Brothers and sisters, these readings and these lessons strongly reverberate now at a time when, if we are not critical, we will be socially distanced from each other. At a time when we reduce manifestations of sincerity because our faces are covered with masks. The gospel is not saying do not wear masks, do not be socially distant. No. The gospel simply reminds us that who are we or what are we avoiding? Because it is one thing to avoid the virus, it's another to avoid a fellow human being. Malaking pagkakaiba ng pag-iwas sa virus at pag-iwas sa kapwa-tao. Whenever I watch the news and see how other countries are faring or acting in response to the coronavirus, I could only admire and envy some countries who are well off. They could give paychecks to their citizens. Stay put, don't go out, we will take care of your material needs. But I also have further admiration with countries who may not be as affluent, who may not have as much resources, but the lack of capacity will cause the private citizens, the churches, the religious organizations to go out of their shells in order to reach out to people. My classmate, Father Flavie Villanueva, feeds hundreds of people daily in Luneta who are starving. Private citizens, last night, a good friend of mine, si City, was having a online concert for the benefit of the fisher folks in Donsol who, because of the pandemic, whose livelihood are afflicted. Again, we avoid the virus, but that is not tantamount to or equivalent to avoiding our fellow human beings. Another example. Have you ever considered why hospital is too close to the word hospitality? Kapag sinabi nating hospital, one of the adjectives that may not come to mind is hospitality. Pero bakit magkapareho, bakit magka-konektado yung hospital tsaka hospitality? Well, hospital comes from the Latin word hospice that invokes not just being a host, but also the welcome of a stranger. So hospitality is the action of welcoming a stranger, just as what we have seen in the first reading. Now, hindi pa naman tayo umaabot sa Pilipinas sa puntong the hospitals would turn down their patients. But there are cases in the world where hospitals try to avoid COVID patients. Maybe for lack of ICU beds, but some for business reasons. Katatakutan kami ng mga tao kung alam na may COVID case sa ospital namin, huwag kayong pumunta dito, doon kayo sa kabila para thriving pa yung aming hospital business. A hospital that has not the heart to welcome strangers cannot call itself hospital. Hospital, by its very etymology, is a welcoming institution, not just for strangers, but for strangers who are sick. We do not ask them who you are. We ask them what ails you. There have been talk about freedom not to wear masks, freedom to travel, freedom to roam around. Yes, the right to freedom is important. But over and above that, especially in these times of difficulty, is the value of obligation. I have a freedom, but I recognize first my obligation to take care of the other. Hence, I will wear a mask so as to prevent transmission. Hence, I will try to limit my going out so as to be able to help the hospitals and my fellow human beings. A welcoming attitude, a proper regard for the other, a recognition of the face of Jesus in the face of the other. Not just within my comfort zones, not just within my family, not just within my comfortable definitions and borders of tribal comfort. The gospel strongly invites us. Wear a mask, keep distance, but do not forget your fellow human beings. Be as welcoming, be as helpful, be as a brother and sister to each other, especially during these times of difficulty. Let us all stand.